Hello and welcome to another episode of the ACC Insider podcast here on the Field of 68 Media Network. My name is Rob Dauster. That gentleman you see across from me is Jeff Goodman. We're going to be joined here by Cal's Chris Bell here in just a couple of minutes to discuss the start that the Cal Bears have had to the season. They're sitting here at 6-1. They are one of a number of ACC teams that have had a really good start to the year. I look at SMU as one of those teams. I look at Clemson as one of those teams. UVA's looked really good in stretches. I would say Stanford and Ibuka Okori, who we absolutely have to get on this podcast here at some point, and I promise you we will, because I don't know if there's 10 freshmen in college basketball that have been better than him, Goodman. So there's a lot of fun storylines that are shaping up in the ACC, which has looked like a really, really good conference at the start of the year, and that plays out in the net ratings that were released today, Goodman. We got the first look at the net, and I'm always wary of buying too much into what we see out of some of these ratings and some of these metrics this early in the year because of the small sample sizes. But it is notable. I think you said 8 of the top 40 teams in the net are from the ACC. That's a big contrast from years past.
Yeah, that huge. 8 of the top 40, 10 of the top 60, which puts them on kind of equal footing as the SEC and the Big 12, which hasn't been the case the last couple of years. So this is huge, especially going into the ACC SEC Challenge, where they're going to have plenty of opportunities this week to show they belong with the SEC and even at the Big 12 level. So you knew Duke was going to be there. We knew Louisville was going to be there, but I think some of the surprises are Cal, SMU. I think, again, you look at even Stanford's played well so far this year for the most part. So, Clemson, I saw win in the Charleston Classic, a couple close games against West Virginia and Georgia that have been huge for a team that, is trying to figure it out right now. We know how good a coach Brad Burnell is, but he's got a completely different roster, which is something, fairly new to him this year. So I think the league, for the most part, especially the top, 10 of the league, has really showed well. Obviously, out in Vegas, you had Syracuse struggling without Donnie Freeman. Hopefully he'll be back soon, but I could see it being another week or so because they have a break here after the ACC SEC Challenge. So, again, I like how the top half of the league has fared, where last year we were talking about like 3 or 4 teams. Kind of, what we were talking last year, we were talking about the ACC like we're talking about the Big East this year, where, again, maybe you get 3, maybe 4 teams in from the Big East if you're fortunate, because, again, league resumes are built in November and really the first part of December. So I think the ACC has done, certainly much better than it has the last couple of years.
Yeah, and you mentioned the ACC SEC Challenge, which is a massive 2 days that we're going to see in that conference here coming up. And there's a couple of notable matchups. And I will be honest, Goodman, the way that the home and road kind of shook out here, it's good and bad, right? It's good for the ACC because you have a lot of opportunities to be able to pick up really good wins on the road. It's bad because it is really hard to win on the road in college basketball. The matchups that are really favorable at home, I would say Syracuse hosting Tennessee. Yeah. That is a really good opportunity for a Syracuse team that looked good in Las Vegas and could not get a big win when they were out there in Las Vegas. And then obviously Duke hosting Florida is going to be a good matchup for them. But you got Miami at Ole Miss. That is going to be a tough matchup. You got North Carolina at Kentucky, which is probably going to end up being a tough matchup. That's one that Kentucky really needs to win. Louisville's playing at Arkansas. Clemson is playing at Alabama. SMU is playing at Vanderbilt. NC State is playing at Auburn. And Virginia is playing at Texas.
Not easy.
Wednesday is going to be brutal. Now, what I will say is that if you win 2 of those games, right? 2 of let's say Louisville wins at Arkansas, and for argument's sake, NC State wins at Auburn, or North Carolina wins at Kentucky, and the other ones at least keep it close in games where they're probably
SMU's got to win at Vandy. SMU's got to win at Vandy.
I don't know. I don't know if they have to, but that would be a massive one
because Vandy's ranked 4th in the net right now. So think of what that would do for SMU's numbers, which are important.
Yes. So all of that stuff really, really matters. And that's a long-winded way of saying that this is going to be a really, really big week. Like if the ACC teams show up on the road here at the SEC, which like, let's be honest, the SEC, I think we're all still kind of viewing the SEC through the lens of what last year was.
Yeah.
And it's not quite on the same level. Those are winnable games. Like Auburn is not impenetrable. Arkansas is certainly beatable for a team as good as Louisville is. Kentucky, they're ranked 19th in the country right now because the name Kentucky is like it carries weight. So this is
Texas. Why can't Virginia go to Texas and pick off the Longhorns in Austin?
They certainly can. And then there's other ones like LSU has looked really good this year, and they're playing at BC. BC is one of those teams where you can't be the anchor. And picking up a win over an undefeated LSU team would matter.
Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's another one like that. Right now, they're like 200 in the net. If they can, honestly, that's a huge game right now for Georgia Tech. That if they can win that game, I think again it helps their numbers. And you have those bottom teams right now in the league that. Ultimately, Mississippi State's not great either. So you got to win that game if you're the Yellow Jackets.
Yep. And I will just add, it's really hard to kind of prognosticate the impact beforehand. If you look forward, though, on Saturday, Duke plays at Michigan State. Louisville plays at Indiana. Virginia gets Dayton at home. Virginia Tech gets a undefeated George Mason team at home. Wake Forest is at West Virginia. Florida State's at Houston. And then on Sunday, North Carolina gets Georgetown at home, and SMU plays at Texas A&M. So I want to kind of postpone this conversation a little bit because I think on Monday, December 8th, the next time that we record this podcast is going to be when we can kind of have the reckoning for like what was this non-conference schedule for the ACC, because they've done really well so far. If they have a very good week, even if they let's say they win 55% of these games and win half the games against ranked teams, so they'll be in a really good spot. Yep. All right, we got Cal coming up. Chris Bell from Cal is coming up here next. Really fun conversation, really fun kid, really interesting story. We get into that right now. And now let me welcome on to the ACC Insider podcast, none other than Cal's Chris Bell, who is averaging 16.6 points this season, 3.5 rebounds, and shooting 45% from three. We have him on because he just put up 22 points in an intrastate win over UCLA. Chris, what's going on, man? It's good to see you.
Much good to see you guys too. Glad to be on here.
So first things first, Chris. 3 years in Syracuse in the frozen tundra. Now you're out in Cal. How happy are you right now? Because I know it is freezing right now in the Cuse, and you don't even need you probably don't even need a sweatshirt right now.
No, not really, honestly. Honestly, it feels good just to be able to be home and be out in the sun. And it definitely is snowing right now in Syracuse. So just being able to take it all in just as last year being at home.
So Cal is what, about like 30 minutes away from where you started high school at De La Salle, right?
Yes. Yeah, right about that.
When you were in high school, did you ever envision playing for Cal? Did they ever recruit you? Was this ever an option for you before you decided to hit the portal and transfer there?
I think for me as a younger kid, it was just I wanted to be the furthest thing away from home. So Cal didn't recruit me that much. So just for me, I was trying to find the furthest thing from home, and Syracuse was kind of hit that list for me.
That sounds like every college kid in America is. I want to get away from home, and then at the end, you're like, you know what? I kind of miss home just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But you grew up, right? You didn't grow up in California, correct?
I did. So I went to middle school here, and I went to high school here, and then for my last year of high school, I transferred to Wasatch Academy in Utah.
Where did you when you were younger though? When you were young, where were you?
Grew up in the Walnut Creek, Concord, Alamo area. That's where I was growing up at.
I couldn't remember. So then you went Wasatch Academy in Utah and then decided to go to Syracuse. Obviously had 3 really good years there. You've shot, listen, I don't know if there's too many better shooters in the country than you, and I don't think you get credit for this. Every single year you're basically right around 40% from 3. I had somebody tell me on that Syracuse staff, they said, Chris's biggest problem was he wasn't the type of guy who just didn't give a shit. Like he needs to be a guy that just doesn't give a shit and just shoots, 10 threes a game. Almost like you're too nice and too worried about if you miss one or two that you're not going to keep shooting. Has that been an issue for you throughout your life a little bit?
I think just sometimes it was. I think sometimes I would get on myself a little bit because I felt like if I missed a couple shots or I wasn't gonna see it get in too much the other time. So just being here, my coaches always tell me to keep shooting. So if I miss two, they're like, just let it rip. They know the next six are going in just for me. So that confidence that they keep instilling me helps me to get through it and just to keep pushing and keep shooting.
Hold on. So you said if you miss two, the next six are going in?
That's what they tell me. And I mean, it usually goes like that. So
It's gone like that so far this season, man. And I guess my question is the adjustment that you've made to kind of playing on the West Coast and playing in a new style and playing in a new system. It looks like that hasn't really impacted you at all.
no, not really. I think it's just me getting back to myself, being that person I was in high school and who I was at the beginning of my college career, and just having that freedom to go out there and be myself. And I think the coaches believe me to do that, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job of that right now.
How important was the win over UCLA, Chris? Because it got a lot of people's attentions nationally. And I know every team you think, preseason, right? Everybody's saying the same things, right? This team, we love this team. But when you come out and you win a game like that against a UCLA, what did that show you guys?
I think it just shows us who we are as a team. We know we can compete with the best of the people in the country, but how can we do that every single night? I think against K-State, we didn't really show that in the first half, but the second half we did. So I think against UCLA, we kind of honed in on the things that we made mistakes on and we fixed it and we showed we
Which
can compete.
which was what? Was it defense? Obviously, you gave up a lot of points against K-State.
Yeah, defense really, and just, being ready to play as soon as the tip happens. It shouldn't take us 10 minutes to be ready to play a game.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about a couple of the other guards on your roster, right? First and foremost, Day Ames. He's a guy you kind of knew him a little bit from his time at Virginia, right? He's turned into not only one of the best transfers in America, but I think one of the most improved players in America. What have you seen out of him this year? Why is he playing as well as he is? And how can you kind of help him continue this beyond just, making a three every time he sets you up for an open shot?
I think just, allowing Dede to be himself. And I think as guards and the fours and the fives, we allowed him to do that. And, Dede is very creative on the ball and off the ball. So just for me and obviously the other players, we watch and we try to fit in as well as we can because we know he can score, but he can also pass too. So it's just being able to be in the right spots for him and obviously help him out a little bit.
When he was at Virginia, he had a good year, but it wasn't this level. I mean, he's averaging like 18 and 3.5 assists. What's been the difference in his game that you've seen now at Cal versus what he was last year when he was at Virginia?
I just think he's more confident. He can go out there and do certain things and he's not going, coach doesn't get on us about mistakes. We're allowed to make mistakes and play through our mistakes. So I think it's not having that second look over your shoulder. Like, man, like if I do something wrong, I might come out. I think for us, it's just like, we're all being able to play. And so with all five of us, I think it's very creative. It helps us all.
Yeah, what's it like playing for the Mad Dog for Mark Madsen? Because his personality, man, it's like no other I've ever been around. Describe to me kind of what he's like as a coach, though.
I think just playing for coaches, you got to be super coachable, super nice guy. Never gonna yell at you, do too much like that. But it's always be ready to play, and he's always gonna tell you if you're doing something wrong in his most comfortable way possible. So just honestly, just playing for a good coach like that is very hard to, not being ready to play or not being coachable or not listening to what he says.
What will he jump you for, though? Is it effort?
My effort.
Yeah.
Team effort on defense, my effort on rebounding, and really it's mostly defense. He doesn't really talk to us about offense. He kind of just lets us do our thing.
What did you know about him before you started getting recruited by him? I'm assuming in the transfer portal, right? I mean, guys my age, he's kind of like a cult hero in basketball world because, he was the mad dog at Stanford and the dances on the sidelines and the guy that was kind of the enforcer alongside Kobe and Shaq and them. But I mean, you're a different generation than me. Did you know who he was and what he was about when he started recruiting you?
I mean, I knew about Coach a little bit. I knew he went to Stanford. And I knew he played for the Lakers, but all the Mad Dog stuff, I had no idea until I kind of got to campus and really got to know him a little bit. So I think that's just a big thing, right? Just like our coach being able to, especially for me being a California kid and us being around from the same area, that was a big thing for me. So just seeing that side of him and figuring it all out was
It
helpful.
wasn't the dance moves that convinced you to go there.
Dance moves was funny. I think we had a clip in practice one day, and I was like, that can't be coach right there.
Does he ever, like, I know he's older and his body's broken down a little bit. Does he ever get in there? Never.
With us playing,
Yeah.
sometimes we'll jump out there. I don't think it's too much though.
Yeah. Again, he played so damn hard every possession that it doesn't surprise me that his body's broken down a little bit at his age. All right. I was told to ask you by a certain member of the Syracuse staff, which character on Suits are you most like?
I'm definitely Mike for sure. I think that's me.
Why? Why?
I think I'm really good at figuring things out, but I think with Mike it's just like maybe it's not the right time to do it, or certain situations don't allow you to do certain things, so you just got to play your role.
You're a Suits guy.
Absolutely.
Okay. I watched it when the pandemic hit. I think I got through about like 5.5 seasons in a month and a half with it, and then it was kind
Good
of like,
show.
yeah, this is a little bit repetitive here.
Yeah, it was very repetitive. I can give you that.
What's your top five TV shows?
Top five TV shows, man.
You can give me like a couple favorites. You don't have to give me a top five.
All right, so I got like three favorites. I probably would say Game of Thrones is a favorite or was a favorite.
Yep.
I'm a big One Piece fan. And then what's the last show that I've been watching? Narcos. I just started getting into that stuff.
Good one. That's a
Narcos is
good one.
good. Yeah, Narcos is good. We told Shelton Henderson this at Miami, the first ACC pod of the season. If you haven't seen The Wire, you got to watch The Wire, Chris. You can't be a TV fan. You can't say you like bingeable TV shows if you haven't seen The Wire.
Okay, I need to watch it then.
Yeah, put
I
that on
see.
your list.
I haven't been able to get through it. I've tried it like three times, Chris, and I've gotten to like episode 5 every time. And people keep telling me it's like so good, so good, so good. But I'll be interested to see what you think if you try to get through it. Give
I
me
will.
the one thing people don't know about you. Give me like we've obviously learned a little bit about you here, and you're a guy who's played college basketball for a while here. But give me the one thing people don't know about you.
Um, I think I'm just a lot more than a shooter. I think that's just the big thing. I think I can do everything else when it comes to offensively or defensively, especially when I put my mind to it. So that's really about it.
I got a couple more basketball questions that I want to hit you on. I want to start with this. You mentioned the loss to Kansas State. I think you guys were down by 24 at one point in the second half there, and you've reeled off 3 straight wins since then. How did that kind of impact you guys? Like you start out 3-0, you look really good, you're feeling yourselves a little bit. You go on the road to Manhattan, and you kind of get punched in the mouth. You make a comeback falls a little bit short, but you reeled off 3 straight. It feels like there's a little bit of a different vibe with you guys since that first, 15 minutes against Kansas State.
I just think personally for my team, I don't think we ever want to have that feeling again. Like if we're going to lose, let it be on us that we lost, like we missed too many shots or we didn't get enough stops on defense. But we felt like we gave ourselves no chance in that game. So just for us just to come out here and constantly compete, especially on the defensive end, because that's something we can control, is just big for us. And I feel like if we do that every single night, it's going to be hard for people to score on us because we play defense.
Yeah, and so the ACC this year, it feels very weird saying this, but transferring from Syracuse to Cal is transferring within the Atlantic Conference. I'm sure you can see the Pacific Ocean from different places that you go to in Berkeley, and you are playing in the Atlantic Coast Conference. You made that cross-country trip last year. You're doing it 4 times this season. You're going to Virginia schools, then the Florida schools, then the Northeast schools, and then you're going to Georgia Tech and Wake Forest, which leads you into the ACC tournament. Are you ready for that? Like, are you ready for how that's going to kind of impact your body? Do you feel like you're prepared for it?
I think I'm prepared for it. I'm a basketball player at the end of the day. I think I'm just ready to go out there and play basketball. It don't really matter where it is or what time it is. So just making sure you get your rest and recovery, obviously. But, that's time management. So you got to figure that stuff out.
The good thing is you guys got a stretch here where you're home the next 7 games. And I think 6 of them are bye type games. Then you get Louisville at home. How important is it, though? Because, again, you can't slip up on these. You know it. You've been there. You probably lost. My guess is you've lost a bye game or 2 in your time at Syracuse. So you could probably talk to your teammates about what it's like to kind of have that letdown, and you guys can't afford to have that right now. How important is this stretch not to overlook any of these teams?
I think just for us, especially for the younger guys, just knowing like what the committee needs to see from making March Madness. It's not about just winning. It's about how you win and the numbers you win by. So just being able to realize that no bye game is a joke and we have to win by a certain number. So like you have to realize that, and they look into all that. This isn't football where you can win by one score and it's okay. This is basketball. They look at everything from your analytics to your points possession to your rebounding. So you got to be great every single night. There is no day off.
Jeff doesn't believe in analytics, Chris.
That's not true. I'm more of an eye test guy than an analytics guy, but I do understand that you have to run it up in these games because of the net. And it sucks because here's what I don't like about it, Chris. And tell me if I'm wrong or not. But you've been around long enough to know these walk-ons, what they do for the program, right? How much blood, sweat, and tears they put into the program. And then when you're up 30, 40 points against a team, you can't put the walk-ons in because you can't let it go from 20, 25 or 30 to, 16 or 18, or you get hurt by it.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And I think it's kind of a sick feeling for certain programs because, it's not like it's just like the higher up programs you can say who can beat people by 30 and then supplement like, hey, they're going to win by this much or their walk-ons were playing. It's not like that for us. I'm just saying in particular. So we have to go out here and beat these quad 3 or quad 2 teams by 30, 20, just because that's who we have to show we are until we get that recognition like everybody else. So, I mean, obviously it's unfair, but it's coming to the point in basketball where it's like that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last thing I got for you, Chris, you're talking about the NCAA tournament. You're talking about what you got to do to be able to qualify. Beyond just winning certain games and putting the profile together, like what's the most important thing for you guys on the court to be able to get to that point where you're hearing your name called on Selection Sunday?
Just going to practice every day and being present. I think that's the big thing. Don't worry about, playing Duke in a month or playing UNC in a month. Worry about playing Utah on Tuesday, and then we'll figure out everything else. I think that's just the main thing. Come in every day with your mind ready to work and just put your head down. Some games you're going to lose, some games you're going to win, but how do you deal with it? How do you battle through adversity?
Listen.
Wait, no. I got one more. I got one more.
Go ahead.
Everybody's got a Boeheim story, right? Everybody's got one, Chris. I'm not letting you get away without giving us your best Jim Boeheim story. You got one?
My best one. I might get in trouble for this.
He's retired. You're not even at Syracuse anymore. You're good. You're good.
Coach is retired. So I don't remember what game it was. We came in during halftime. I think it was my freshman year. It was me, Joe, Jesse, Judah. I believe Malik was sitting in the front row with me. And Coach got mad at something I think Joe did in the first half. And Joe said something back. And Coach was about to pick up a chair. And I was like, yo, Coach can't be this serious. Like, he can't be this mad at you. But yeah, I think that's probably the best one I have. Or it was the Notre Dame Jim Boeheim game. And I think in the second half, I wasn't playing good enough defense. I think there was like 20,000 people there. And we had like a whole meeting after. And what I think he said in front of everybody, he said, I think Chris needs to play better defense. But it was like a little shot at me, though. So that's probably the funniest thing I got about it.
That's got to be.
February 11th, you go back. Did you keep your heavy jacket?
Oh, no, that's just another game for me. I can't wait, though. It'll be another good day.
I'm sure because it was kind of a, there are no hard feelings on either end, right? It had kind of run its course to some degree. Did you feel?
For sure. I just think certain situations, certain people fit better in certain systems, good things happen and bad things don't. And, I spent a great 3 years at Syracuse. I enjoyed it. I love the fans. If you could ask me to do it all over again, would I switch my answer? I would say no. I would love to be at Syracuse and finish it out. But, certain things happen and I'm glad to be back home in the Bay.
Yeah, well, look, it's working out for them. It's working out for you, obviously, and it seems like it's good. It's always good when you have those transfers and everyone can kind of be adults in the room and realize that sometimes it's just not going to work. Chris, we appreciate you being here, man. Best of luck this season. Best of luck tomorrow against Utah, and hopefully we will see you down the road. Keep winning. I want to hear your review of the Wire, so make sure you lock that in.
Yes, sir. I got you. Sounds good.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.